Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, I want you to try something for just a second. Close your eyes. Picture in your mind every single city you've ever walked through, every massive forest you've explored, and every mountain path you've ever climbed. Got it? Well, here's the thing. All of those places combined wouldn't fill even a tiny corner of the abyss. Today, we're taking a journey into the deep ocean. It is a place of just impossible beauty, where the sheer scale completely defies our human understanding. Because by volume, this hidden, almost poetic realm is actually Earth's largest habitat. To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of where we're going, think about Mount Everest, right? The absolute highest peak on our planet. Well, if we were to take Mount Everest and turn it completely upside down, its summit would still fall 2 entire kilometers short of the ocean's deepest trench. It is just a staggering, dizzying drop into the veils of blue. And consider this. More than 95% of planet Earth's waters exist in near-perfect darkness. We're talking way, way below the glimmering skin of the waves, down where absolutely no sunlight can reach. And this is crucial to remember, this fathomless deep is not just empty space. Down among those cavernous trenches and shifting rocks, it is an incredibly busy, thriving world packed with life. Every single creature down here has a specific purpose, weaving its own unique story into the dark. Section 1. The scale of the abyss. Okay, let's dive into this. Before we meet the actual locals down there, we really need to understand the intense physical reality of this place. Imagine the light just thinning out as a tremendous physical weight folds over you, pressing in from absolutely every side. And with that crushing pressure comes a dramatic shift in how sound works. You see, the ocean is like this ancient cathedral where the organ is played by the clicks, cracks, and threaded songs of uncounted species. Sound actually moves over 4 times faster in water than it does in air, mostly because water's tightly packed molecules transmit vibrations so much more efficiently. So the ocean is essentially a great drum, being constantly beaten and shaken into song by the booming clicks of sperm whales and the snapping of coral reefs, echoing on and on through the dark. Section 2. Scavengers of the seafloor. So let's imagine we've finally arrived at the very bottom of the world, the abyssal plain. Unfolding up to 6,000 meters beneath the waves, this seemingly desolate landscape is actually one of the flattest places on Earth. There's no wind down here, only the relentless heavy pull of gravity. So you might be wondering, what exactly powers life in this utter darkness? Well, it comes down to a faint, drifting richness called marine snow. You can playfully think of it as the ocean's dandruff. It's a slow, endless drift of continental dust, empty plankton shells, and dead organic matter falling from the sunlit world far above. It falls so incredibly slowly that in some remote basins, it accumulates at a rate of just 1 millimeter per 1,000 years. Yet, over vast stretches of time, this faint drizzle creates a carpet of nutrient-rich mud that is literally miles deep. Now, this slow accumulation of marine snow sustains a highly specialized, tireless workforce. You've got soft-bodied, slow-moving sea cucumbers that basically act as living conveyor belts, constantly swallowing sediment and cleansing it, just like earthworms do in soil. And alongside them prowl the giant isopods. These guys are cousins of the tiny pill bugs you might find in your backyard garden, but down here, they grow to nearly 1/2 a meter long. They are the ultimate recyclers, devouring every scrap of fallen flesh. In the deep ocean, absolutely nothing is ever wasted. Section 3. Deep Sea Oases. But every so often, the endless, quiet routine of the abyssal plain gets interrupted. Massive, localized energy hotspots plummet from the world above, bringing unexpected, unbelievable feasts to the starving mud dwellers. And this brilliantly illustrates one of those incredible events, a woodfall. When a massive storm washes a tree or, even a wooden ship into the open sea, it eventually sinks all the way to the bottom. Now, wood is incredibly tough. It's made of resistant lignocellulose. But deep-sea microbes actually supply powerful enzymes to crack it open. This allows a thriving community of clams and crustaceans to turn that terrestrial carbon into deep-sea life. Although interestingly, there are exceptions. Shackleton's famous ship, the Endurance, was found perfectly intact after 107 years at the bottom of the Antarctic. Why? Because the freezing Southern Ocean has no land trees, so it never pressured local animals to evolve wood-digesting abilities. How wild is that? But even more spectacular than the wood falls are the whale falls. The final descent of one of these ocean giants sparks a literal multi-generational epic. It is fascinating. Within mere hours of hitting the bottom, sharks, isopods, and hagfish arrive to quickly scavenge the flesh. Months later, highly specialized bone-eating worms completely colonize the skeleton. And finally, for decades or even centuries, sulfur-loving microbes sustain a bustling, thriving ecosystem right out of the silt. Think about that. A single death can breathe vibrant life into the dark for hundreds of years. Now, if you're a creature anchored in the mud, the dark water above is basically your sky. And from that void drops some truly strange visitors. We see enormous, 6-meter-long six-gill sharks drawn down by the scent of carrion. We see chimeras, these ancient ghost sharks that actually use electrical sensors on their snouts to hunt for buried prey. Then there is the incredibly eerie bigfin squid, just dragging its 6-meter-long filaments through the water, which has been recorded an astonishing 6,212 meters down. And then there is my personal favorite, the flying spaghetti monster. Yes, that's its actual nickname. It's not a single animal, but a colonial generationship of specialized organisms. To the mud dwellers, these pelagic wanderers must look like bizarre migrating birds, passing silently through a pitch-black sky. Section 4. Hydrothermal vents. If we travel far enough across these abyssal plains, we eventually reach the seams of the Earth, places where the ocean crust actually pulls apart. Freezing seawater rushes down into the cracks, gets superheated to over 400 degrees Celsius, and erupts back out as scalding, mineral-rich black smokers. Now, what's really interesting about this is the total rewrite of the rules of biology. Think about it. Almost all normal life on Earth is driven by the sun through photosynthesis, right? But down here, vent life is driven by fire, water, and stone. Billions of microbes draw their energy from toxic hydrogen sulfide and methane, magically transforming them into usable sugars. This quiet, deep-sea alchemy is called chemosynthesis, and it is the foundation of a totally alien ecosystem. And thanks to this microbial alchemy, we get creatures like the giant tube worms. These incredible animals can grow up to 3 meters. That's nearly 10 feet tall. But here is the crazy part. They have literally no mouths and no stomachs. None. They survive entirely by hosting billions of chemosynthetic bacteria inside a highly specialized organ called a trophosome. The worm simply brings the vent chemicals to the bacteria, and in return, the bacteria feed the worm. It is a perfect, wonderfully bizarre partnership. These vents also offer something else you really wouldn't expect down there: warmth. Deep-sea octopuses will actually gather near these hot seeps just to brood their eggs. And even with the warm water speeding up their metabolism, these incredibly devoted mothers maintain a patient, unwavering vigil for up to 4 solid years. They never leave to feed, not once. It is without a doubt the longest incubation period in the entire animal kingdom. Section 5. The pelagic void. All right, let's unmoor ourselves from the seafloor entirely now. We're floating up into the vast, shelterless midwater regions of endless blue and yawning black. This is the pelagic void. It's a place with absolutely zero refuge. So the high-stakes question becomes, how do you survive in a place where you literally can't hide behind a rock? Well, it becomes an intense game of concealment. You can use mimicry, like the swordtail squid posing as a stinging siphonophore. You can use partial visibility, like the famous anglerfish holding out a glowing lure in the pitch dark. Or you go for true invisibility. In this exclusive club, totally free from the sun's UV rays, animals just don't need protective pigments. They can be bright silver to reflect ambient light, dark red to vanish completely in deep waters, or entirely perfectly transparent, like nature's true ghosts. A perfect example of this true invisibility is the telescope octopus. Unlike most octopuses that crawl around on the seafloor, this gelatinous, completely colorless phantom spends its entire life suspended in the open water. It uses these bizarre, elongated, tubular periscope eyes to hunt for even the faintest scatter of bioluminescent light in the midwater dark. Because of its transparency, its outline is completely hidden as it drifts endlessly through the void. Where there is space to be used, you better believe nature will use it. In this massive, open void, some animals have grown to just immense proportions. And beautifully, in a space without any physical shelter, the giants actually become the shelter. Giant jellyfish, whose bodies are about 98% water, act as guardians. Their folded, gelatinous cloaks provide a mobile refuge, safely shepherding smaller, vulnerable life through the expansive, watery plain. As we start to wrap up this explainer, I really want you to reconsider how you view the sea. We so often just think of the ocean as a flat, blue surface to be crossed, or maybe just a dramatic backdrop for the weather. But as this quote beautifully reminds us, it is an interior. It is the deeply interconnected, incredibly thriving hollow of the world that drops away directly beneath us. It is a home to countless, breathtaking marvels, shaped by intense pressure, absolute darkness, and scarcity, yet it is just exploding with life. We've seen gentle marine snow, massive giant isopods, centaureal whale falls, and completely transparent phantoms. But the thrilling truth is, we have only just barely scratched the surface of the deep. So I want to leave you with this one awe-inspiring question. What else is waiting in the hollow of our world? Thank you so much for exploring the abyss with me today. Keep asking questions and keep diving deep.